I have probably had every injury that you can imagine, from Achilles tendinopathy to plantar fasciitis, IT band syndrome, SI joint problems, you name it, I've had it. And that's probably why right now, my coaching practice considers injury prevention a top goal. And what I want to do in this video is talk about the major ways that you can prevent injury and also the sneaky ways that cause you to get injured. Now, I've talked a lot about some of the best ways that runners can stay healthy. And if we were to rank them in the order of most important on, our first most important strategy that we have to stay healthy as runners is sound training. Now, what do we actually mean by sound training? It means that your training is following the fundamentals, the best practices that we currently understand running training to follow. So things like you're not increasing your mileage too quickly. You are running mileage levels that are appropriate for you. You are running workouts that are not only appropriate for your level of fitness and the race that you're training for, but also at the time period that you're in right now. So for example, if you're 16 weeks out from a marathon, you're going to be doing very different workouts than if you are 3 weeks out from a marathon. And so we have to periodize our workouts so that we can not only run a peak performance, but also not burn ourselves out, get overtrained, or get injured. So the logical progression of our workouts is just as important as logical progressions of our long runs, logical progressions of our weekly mileage levels. Let's also not forget about the distribution of effort throughout the week. You know, I've seen a lot of runners who put back-to-back hard days. That's a very advanced move, and I don't recommend it for most athletes. So when we talk about sound training, we're talking about logical training, evenly spaced effort throughout the week. We are focusing on appropriate workouts, mileage levels, and long runs, and also sound progressions. That is very good training that's likely going to keep you healthy. I grew up on the track and on the cross-country course, and I know that a peak performance takes the right training. It also takes the right gear. Nobody's running a PR in cotton socks and basketball shoes. So if you are someone who's a performance-oriented runner, you need the right training and the right gear to help you express a peak performance. And that's why I'm thrilled to partner with Bombas Socks on our YouTube channel. Use the link in our description underneath this video and code STRENGTH20 to save 20% off your first order with Bombas Socks. If you're trying to run a PR, use a pair of Bombas Socks. They are the most comfortable, high quality pair of socks that I've ever owned, and you're really gonna benefit from the high quality stitching and the real lack of prominent seams in their socks. So it's really gonna help you focus on your running, focus on the workout or the race that you're currently in, rather than on worrying about your socks and if they're up to the task. Plus, what I really love about Bombas is the fact that not only are these maybe the most comfortable, performance-oriented socks that you've ever worn, but they're also the most charitable socks you might ever wear. For every pair that you order, they are gonna donate a pair to the needy. So use code STRENGTH20 at checkout with the link under this video in the description, and you're gonna save 20% on your first order at Bombas. Thank you, Bombas, for your support. Now, our second strategy for injury prevention is strength training. Of all the strategies that we have, this one is separate from training. It is part of your training, but it's often overlooked by a lot of runners. I like to have runners sandwich their runs in between a dynamic flexibility routine, as I trip over myself, a dynamic flexibility routine before the run, and then after the run, let's do at least 10 to 20 minutes of body weight strength work. This can be a core workout. This can be a hip or glute oriented strength workout. This is really gonna take your injury prevention efforts to the next level, because a lot of these exercises are actually taken from the world of physical therapy. So you're doing a lot of the things that you're gonna be doing in a PT's office if you were injured, except now we're doing it as prehab when you're healthy. So if you get your training right, and then you get your strength training right, what's next? Well, This is where we get into sneaky reasons why you may still be getting injured, because this is a very common phenomenon. One of the things that happens is you're plugging along, you're running a normal mileage level for yourself, you're not doing any hero workouts, but you still get injured. Why? What is happening with your training that's causing you to get injured? Well, the answer is often not what's going on in your training, it's what's going on outside of your training. And this is where we get into a lot of the other reasons for runners getting hurt. So I want to talk about two important ones. And these were just highlighted on the most recent episode of the Strength Running podcast with Brody Sharp. I believe it was episode 272. So definitely check that out if you want Brody's interpretation of these two issues. But issue number one is sleep. Sleep is the recovery side of your training. You train hard, then you recover. That's what makes you into a better runner. If you're not recovering, you're not actually getting better, and you're increasing your injury risk. So one of the things that we can do as runners is prioritize at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. If you're training really hard, let's try to get at least 8 hours, maybe 8.5 if you're really in the thick of hard training. It's just so critical. And it's one of the reasons why many pro runners consider their daily nap just a part of their training process. It is required to properly recover and stay healthy from all that training that they're doing. Now, the other reason why runners are getting injured, even when their training is sound, even when they're doing adequate strength training, is not just the sleep, but the lifestyle around their running. And this encapsulates a lot of things. And the primary one is stress. Now, the reason why stress is such an insidious force on your training is because it's a hormonal response to anxiety or stress. And that hormonal response is a very similar hormonal response that you get from very hard training. And you need extra recovery to recover from not only your training, but also all that stress that you're under. And so a lot of the times it becomes too difficult. You can't recover adequately from both. You get this rush of all those hormones when you're really stressed, and that can really put a damper on the recovery process. So this is a great reason why, if you are training for a big race and you're in the thick of hard training, let's not try to do anything else in our lives that's going to cause us a lot of stress. Let's really try to de-stress so that we can focus on our training, and we're not putting ourselves in the hormonal situation of not being able to recover properly from all the running that we're doing. So if you're a runner who gets injured somewhat frequently and you're just not sure why, you think your training is going really well, maybe you're doing a lot of strength training, maybe you're using Strength Running's high performance lifting program, or you're sandwiching all of your runs with many of our core and strength routines that you can find on the Strength Running site, and you're still getting injured, look into these two reasons. See if you're getting enough sleep, and see if the lifestyle around your running, which is mostly about stress, is conducive to hard training. If you can get those two things right on the back end, it's gonna make all your training a lot easier, and you are likely gonna stay healthy.